We'll be talking about what's going on in the world of government supported schemes for the minorities. India, from being the world's largest democracy with over a billion citizens and being culturally rich amongst all nuclear powers combined together, to being adversely poor in terms of socio-economic front for its minorities. For the last 6 years, the indifferences amongst minorities have been on an all-time high. Nationalistic sentiments are being questioned openly with respect to religious beliefs, leading to biasness amongst one's equal. Minorities have been led to believe they need to fend for themselves, as the government is bent to take away the liberty they were born into. This video will cover just one part of various schemes under the welfare of minorities, hoping to educate saturated minds, hoping to open their eyes to possibilities. On the 8th of August 2015, the Ministry of Minority Affairs had announced the launching of Nayi Manzil, a purposeful development for the minority community under an integrated education and livelihood initiative. With the support of World Bank, the Government of India had signed a $50 million financing agreement with the acting country director of International Development Association, Mr. Michael Haney, 4 months after the announcement of launch of Nayi Manzil. Being the principal implementing agency of Nayi Manzil Yojana, the Ministry of Minority Affairs had formed a core team under the Program Management Unit, headed by the project director, having similar rank as a joint secretary in the Government of India, with an additional director and under secretary, along with managing a team of sector experienced technical administrators, with an outside support being provided by a senior education specialist appointed by the World Bank. Soon after the formation, an independent steering committee was set up to supervise and guide the project management unit as well. With the team structure and key players in place, Ministry of Minority Affairs Nayi Manzil Yojana envisaged benefiting over 100,000 minority youth. Nayi Manzil Yojana successfully enrolled over 95,000 students, 52% of which were girls. 30% of the beneficiary enrolled into open basic education. Over 70% of beneficiaries had enrolled in secondary education. Over 42,000 beneficiaries got skill certified, and over 13,500 had gotten employed. The Nayi Manzil scheme till date have been implemented in 22 states through these project implementation agencies. States like Goa, Kerala, Mizoram, Nagaland, Odisha, Pondicherry, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh are the states which are yet to be covered under the scheme. The project management unit, the steering committee, and all the project implementation agencies together focused their reach out programs, their strategies around the very objective which was derived from the finance agreement signed between the Ministry of Minority Affairs and the International Development Association. Also, special emphasis was being given by the steering committee earmarking anti-corruption guidelines on the eligibility criteria for beneficiaries. The following chapters cover 3 components around which the Nayi Manzil scheme is and has been successfully administered. The educational component of Nayi Manzil scheme dependent on the beneficiary's eligibility to undergo the open basic education, whose primary aim was to assist these youth to attain certification from the National Institute of Open Schooling or any other state open school. These open basic education programs offered at 4 levels: level A, level B, level C, and secondary level examination programs. Each of these levels had an equivalent supplement to elementary education program of our formal education system. Under the job placement component, the project implementation agency had to place a candidate successfully in regular employment in the sector they are trained into. Also, to ensure minimum wages as mandated in the state for semi-skilled workers, ensuring regular connects made within the regional industrial houses through organizing monthly job fairs, also ensuring once the beneficiary got employed that the employers were providing provident fund, the employment state insurance as well. Also very critical, but one of the mandates that were given, that the PIA had to make sure that the job opportunities which were offered had to be introduced with the minimum chances of dislocation for these beneficiaries. Lastly, ensuring the candidates are provided monthly financial incentives of rupees 2000 for 2 months as a post placement support. Equally important is the skills training. Each of these beneficiaries were offered skills training which was level 3 compliant with the National Skills Qualification Framework. Also, these beneficiaries were given minimum 3 months of skills training program, which includes IT training, the basic IT training, as well as basic English training. Also, it included healthcare awareness and life skills, basic hygiene, and first aid. As the success of the Nayi Manzil Yojana is attributed to the administration under Mr. P.K. Thakur and the guidelines being earmarked by the steering committee, the role of project implementation agencies has been instrumental. So, as a bonus source information, let me share the eligibility criteria of a PIA for such schemes. The agency should be at least 3 years old, a registered society or a company, or it can be a trust. Should have a valid service tax registration number or equivalent registration in case of a foreign applicant. The agency must be affiliated to National Skill Development Council, a sector skill council. It should be accredited to a National Institute of Open Schooling or a state level open schooling. The agency should have an annual turnover of rupees 5 crores or above for the past 5 financial years. The agency must have experience in conducting education for school dropouts, vocational education, training, job orientation programs, self-employment programs. Has to have on record trained 500 people annually in the last 3 years under any government schemes. The preference would be given to agencies having experience in working with minorities or having presence in minority areas. The agency should be free from any unsatisfactory track record with the Government of India, qualification of which would lead to signing of 32 months result oriented performance agreement between the Ministry of Minority Affairs and the project implementation agencies. So far, there are 111 PIAs enrolled within the Nayi Manzil Yojana.